Okay, so whenever you're ready, go ahead and come to your yoga mat. We'll start laying down today. Um, Most of these classes we start laying down. It's just a good way to transition from your normal standing, sitting, walking kind of postures of the day, coming into this more present perhaps time for yoga. So maybe you lay all the way down with your arms and legs extended. This would be Shavasana, corpse pose. If you're feeling any discomfort or you just feel like taking a different variation, you could bend your knees and stand your feet up near the edges of the mat. I kind of like to pick up the pelvis and kind of set it back down so your low back feels kind of spacious there. And just allow your knees to rest together at the center. Let your arms and hands find their place to somewhere comfortable or interesting. Have them out to the sides or up overhead, or maybe resting somewhere along your body. And as you settle in, really make sure that if you feel like trying new variations, you feel welcome to do that. And maybe closing your eyes if that feels good. And we'll start right away here with noticing your body, noticing your physical body here. Is there any, you scan your awareness throughout, is there anywhere that's causing you to notice? Is there any tension or expansion or any sensations that are catching your attention? And then noticing the emotional body. How are your emotions today or in this moment? Is there any emotion or two or three perhaps that you can determine the name of? Sometimes emotions don't necessarily have a clear cut name, but maybe you can just kind of feel it for a second. Whatever's there for you. And we know that emotions are kind of just weather passing through. So, whether you might judge the present emotions as good or bad or anywhere in between, let's just see if for a moment we can just be with it, whatever it is. Not judging yourself for your feelings. And taking a quick scan through the energetic body. How's your energy feeling? How much energy have you exerted throughout your day today? I'll take a couple of moments here to feel into the breath. Just notice how your breath is flowing. Are you breathing through your nose or through your mouth? If it's available to you to breathe just through your nose, we'd want to get in the habit of that. Just helps us to keep our body in homeostasis a little bit more. Having the mouth closed helps retain moisture. And also, nasal breathing has a long list of benefits. Basically, it's a more efficient way to breathe. Noticing your nostrils and your nasal passageways, and with each breath, imagine or sense that you're kind of widening out nose nose so that each breath becomes a little easier as you go. We'll do a little experiment here with what's called a physiological sigh. So it's going to be 2 breaths in through the nose and then a sigh out of your mouth. So just imagine, breathing in about 75% through your nose, just normal pace. And then pause for just a second and kind of sniff a little bit more air in through the nose. And open mouth, exhale, sigh it out. Go ahead and do that a couple more times, breathing in through your nose about 75%, pausing, breathing in through your nose a little bit more, and then sighing through the mouth. Go ahead and do that once more at your own timing. This signals the rest, digest, and heal side of the nervous system, the parasympathetic. Some people consider it a parasympathetic reset. So maybe you've noticed yourself, or maybe a child, or even a pet. Sometimes when kids breathe, or any age really, is crying, sometimes they just automatically do this little 2-part inhale and then a big sigh out. It's a soothing technique that sometimes we're not even aware that we're doing. So coming back to a steady pace of breath and deciding if you'd like to set a dedication or intention for your practice today. And then we'll take a clearing breath together. Inhale through your nose, pause all the way up at the top. Then open mouth, exhale, sigh it out. Go ahead and start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Let your head kind of rock from one side to the other. Just tenderly awakening your body. We'll reach the arms and legs long in opposite directions for a nice long body stretch. You can kind of wiggle the fingers and toes a little bit more here, or just reach long. All right, as you're ready, let's go ahead and turn onto either side, finding the fetal position for a moment. So knees tucked in a little bit, maybe using your bottom arm as a pillow. I like to bring the top arm hand down to the floor just for support. Take a full, slow breath here, no rush to move on. At the bottom of that exhale, go ahead and press your way up to a comfortable seat. I highly recommend grabbing something to sit on. I've got a nice fancy bolster here, but if you've got yoga blocks, you could put your 2 blocks together, or grab a little stack of pillows, or even pop up to a chair if you'd like. I just want to get the hips a little higher than the knees. This will help you to feel comfortable as you're seated here. More options for comfort. We're going to be seated for a little bit, so I just want to make sure everyone's feeling really good. Even if you feel super good, but you know that if you sit like this for too long, it starts to get uncomfortable, you could grab your blocks or other props and just kind of wedge them up underneath your knees, just so you have as much support here as you'd like. Hands just gently resting on your knees. Let's let the chin come down toward the center of your chest. Imagine your shoulder blades kind of melting down the spine. So you're feeling into the back of your neck here as you relax your chin down toward your chest. Start to rock your right ear toward the right shoulder. And pausing there for a moment, you might gently circle your left shoulder around a little bit here as you feel all those little muscles there through the left side of your neck, kind of loosening things up as we circle or gently rock that left shoulder. And then let your chin come back down toward the center of your chest. And eventually bring that left ear toward your left shoulder, pausing there. And then maybe gently circling your right shoulder around, feeling the scalenes, those muscles through the right side of your neck now. And then at your own pace, chin coming back down toward the center of your chest. Just rock your head side to side a couple more times. Taking it slow enough that you can feel what's going on throughout your neck the whole way through. And I'll start to take some, I don't necessarily want to call them neck circles because we're not going to bring our head back, but imagine that you're kind of drawing a circle with your nose. So it's more of like a, instead of rotating back and around, we want to kind of look up and then over to the other side. So just start with one direction. Maybe we can call them lifted neck circles. I don't know. But we're not letting the neck go back too far. I like the imagery of like you're drawing, like you're on the Disney Channel back in the day and you're drawing with your nose the circle here. And then switching directions, circling a couple times through. Whenever it feels right, letting the chin find its way down toward the chest again. With an inhale, start to lift your gaze straight up. With your exhale, bringing your chin back down toward the center of your chest. Follow your own breath here, using your inhale to lift the gaze up. Using your exhale to lower your chin down. And when you get to the top, maybe you kind of stick your chin out a little bit more so you feel a nice stretch through the neck and chin. Eventually coming up to neutral. We're going to inhale as we turn the head and look toward the left. So shoulders are staying still, we're just turning the head. And then exhale as you make your way to the right. Spend your entire inhale making your way toward the left, gazing toward the left, turning your neck. Your entire exhale making your way to the right. Just about one more time through. Go ahead and come back to center. We're going to slowly take a little forward fold. Just first walking your hands out in front of you. You can bring your hands up on blocks and just kind of reach up here. We're continuing to go forward, just finding a nice amount of folding for you. It's never about how it looks. It's always about working with what you got here today. Just a nice, easy forward fold over your crossed legs. Letting your back be a little bit rounded here. Your neck be relaxed. And we're going to walk the hands over toward the left side. So you're just kind of reaching toward the left. And again, just folding back down. Seeing if you can feel some stretch happening. Maybe through that right side or that right arm, armpit. Sometimes people can feel this really nicely through the hips. There's no right way to feel it, so just explore your experience. And then walk your hands to the other side when you're ready. And then lowering back into a relaxing position through the upper body. Noticing any sensations now through that left side. And then walking your way back to the center. Start to rise on up. We will switch the cross of the legs now. So whatever leg was in back will come to the front. If you need to adjust the amount of props you're sitting up on, now's a good time to do that as well. And then we'll just, for a second here, take some shoulder rolls in between sides. So just bringing the shoulders forward, up, and then back and down like you're tucking the shoulder blades in your back pockets. Go ahead and circle your shoulders forward and up, and then back and down. Maybe one more time. Any other little intuitive movements? Go ahead, add those on. And then we're taking another little forward fold over the crossed legs in this, with this variation, this leg in front. Take a nice big breath and send the breath and awareness to the mid back. And then walking your hands over to the right, sinking back in, feeling some stretch, perhaps through that left side or shoulder, maybe somewhere in the hips. Whenever the time is right, go ahead and switch sides, walking your hands toward the left and then sinking back in. Don't force it here. And then walk your hands toward the center and make your way back up. We will straighten the right leg. We'll keep that left knee bent here. If you're up on props, sometimes it feels better to remove some of those props as we start to move in this way. So just at any time, if you want to come down off of your props, go ahead and know that's an option. So right leg is extending here, just making your way as you can. We're going to reach the right hand toward the left knee. So we're crossing the body, right hand to the left knee. Just kind of a little twist toward that side. Right away, we're going to reach the left hand up and take a side bend toward the right foot. So imagine you're kind of creating an arch with that left hand and arm, and that arch is just pointing in the direction of your right toes. Keep trying to open that left armpit up toward the ceiling in a gentle way. Taking a breath in, let's rise up at least part of the way so you can take a nice full breath in. And then with your exhale, side bending again toward that right foot. One more time, we're inhaling, rising up a little bit. And then exhale, last side bend toward the right. Come on back up, lowering your hand down. Let's take a little counter twist here. So bring your right hand behind you and that left hand across toward your right knee. Just taking a little mini twist toward the right, gazing over that right shoulder. And then come back to center. We'll switch legs. Left leg goes long, right knee bends. And this time we'll take the left hand to the right knee. Reach your right hand high. And then side bend to the left. Opening that right elbow up toward the ceiling, that right armpit opening here. Ooh, I'm also getting a really nice shoulder blade stretch here through the left shoulder. I wonder if you're feeling that too. With an inhale, rise up a little bit. Exhale, side bend toward the left. Let's do that again. Inhale, rising up. And exhale, side bend to the left. Come back up to center. And And lower your hand down, taking our little counter twist toward the left now. So right hand coming to that left knee or thigh, left hand behind you. Just a little counter twist as you gaze over your left shoulder. Come back to center now. Let's transition to hands and knees. And if you need or want some extra comfort for your knees, you can always bring a little something extra here if you're a gardener. Those kneeling pads are really nice to have, or a blanket. If you have any wrist or arm issues going on here, you might bring your hands up onto blocks, just so there's a little less weight and pressure through the wrists. So find your way. We'll do cat and cow here. So with your inhale, start to lower your belly, lift your gaze, lift your tailbone, cow pose. And exhale, tuck your tailbone, round up through your spine, tuck your chin, cat pose. Inhale, cow, belly lowering, gaze and tailbone lifting. Exhale, cat, rounding up, pulling the navel in, kind of like you're gently forcing the exhale out. A couple more times like that, inhaling to cow, exhaling to cat. Keep going at your own pace. And when you've had enough, find your way to extended child's pose with your knees out wide toward the edges of your mat, big toes touching behind you. If it feels safe and comfortable, on your knees, sinking your seat toward your heels. If that doesn't feel safe or comfortable for your knees, you can stay lifted a little bit more. So either way, we'll bring the forearms down to the floor or walk your hands out toward the top of your mat and then sink your head and heart down toward your mat. Make sure you have plenty of room for the belly here. We'll take some rounds of diaphragmatic breath. So inhale, let your belly be nice and big, expanding. And exhale as you let everything soften. We're inhaling deep down to the lowest part of the lungs. And exhaling as everything softens. Go ahead and keep breathing like that in a kind way. If you notice any tension arising, see if you can stay with it. Just breathe with it. You might be able to unravel any over-efforting or tension in that way. Start to rise back up to tabletop when the timing is right. Go ahead and either sit back on your heels. You could sit back on a couple of blocks between your feet and your heels, or stay lifted on your knees. So some kind of kneeling position. With an inhale, reach your arms around and up. Look up toward your palms as they join. And then exhale, bring your hands down to heart center, right there at the sternum. Thumbs touching your chest, tucking your chin. Inhale, hands go high, gaze follows. Exhale, lowering your arms down and around. Let's do that again. Inhale, arms reaching high. Exhale, hands to heart center, tucking your chin. This time we're switching it up. Inhale, lifting high. If you're seated on your heels, we're rising up. So we're up on the knees, breathing in. Exhale, open arm twist toward the right. Do both sides, whatever way you went is good. Inhale, come back to the center, unwind, lift your hands high. Exhale, open arm twist toward the left. We'll do this a couple more times. With your inhale, we're coming back to the center and unwinding. With your exhales, go ahead and twist in the opposite direction and see if you can soften your shoulders a little bit when you rise. One more time. We're inhaling up and exhaling. One last twist, making sure your shoulders feel a little soft. Inhale, come back to center, lift your hands high. Exhale, baby back bend here. So first squeeze your glutes, send your hip points forward a little bit, and then bend your elbows. So you're finding kind of this goalpost or cactus-like position. Hug your shoulder blades together behind you, and make sure your core is really nice and engaged here. So this might just be kind of a mini baby back bend. With an inhale, rise back up, and then exhale, lower your arms on down. We will set up downward dog next. So if you have blocks and you like to use them, go ahead and bring them up to the top of your mat. Blocks or not, we'll still spread the fingertips out. And today we're going to pay special attention to the pointer finger and thumb. So although we do want to spread our weight here throughout as much of our hands as possible, this will really help our wrists and prolong our ability to practice. We're going to make sure we're really gripping and pressing in toward the pointer and thumb side. So just keep that in mind here. Curling your toes under, picking up your knees, reaching your tailbone high, and then checking back in. Pointer and thumb side of your hand extra engaged. Find your breath, make sure it's flowing. And if you like, maybe pedal out your legs, bending and straightening opposite knees. Breathing in and out through your nose if you have that available. And at some point, lowering your heels toward the floor. They don't have to touch the floor. With an inhale, rise up to your tippy toes. So heels reaching high, tailbone reaching high, pushing, reaching through your shoulders. And then exhale, sink your heels down toward the floor. So we're getting a little calf stretch, a little bit of activation here through the backside of the legs. Inhale, rise up to your tippy toes. Exhale, heels start to lower. One more time, inhale up to the toes. And then exhale, lower your heels. Inhale, bend your knees, look up toward your hands, but with your exhale, walk your hands toward the back of your mat. So you end up in a ragdoll forward fold at the back. Now your feet can stay as they are, or you can toe heel your feet out a little wider, giving the low belly just a little bit more room and comfort. Having at least a slight bend of your knees. Let your upper body be kind of loose here. Maybe grabbing opposite elbows. Maybe swaying a little bit here. Definitely breathing. We don't want to hold our breath, but it's so easy to hold our breath when we're upside down, so just check in. If you grabbed opposite elbows, let's switch the grip. So just releasing and then grabbing again with the other forearm on top. Nodding your head yes and shaking your head no. Playing with gravity here as you find length and space through your spine and neck. You might also be feeling quite a stretch through the back of your legs. When you're ready, releasing your hands and then bending a little deeper into your knees. Tuck your chin toward your chest and then walk your hands up your legs as you slowly come up to stand. So head, neck, shoulders are last to rise. We're doing this in slow motion. Eventually coming to stand. And right away here, let's get our circulation going with just a little bit of shaking, bouncing motions here. So maybe shaking out your shoulders and arms first. You're following your own cues now, so just whatever feels like shaking on your body, shake it out. Maybe lift and lower your heels a couple of times. Getting a nice deep bounce through the tissues, through your muscles. Freestyling for a little bit longer. We're shaking, we're bouncing, maybe a little twisting. Just getting the prana, that life force energy pumping so we can feel it. Okay. Man, that feels good. Okay, we're back at the back side of our mat. Take a look down at your feet. Find a comfortable starting stance here. Pick up all of your toes, spread them out, give them a little wiggle, and set them right back down. Spin your palms to face the front of your space. Tadasana, mountain pose. Feel your shoulder blades hugging together a little bit behind your back. Some spaciousness through the chest. But make sure you're not getting into a back bend here, so imagine knitting the rib cage together, activating your core. Let's rise up to the tippy toes a couple times now. So shift your weight forward and then lift your heels, rising up. Really activating the lower body here. And then exhale, lower back down. We'll breathe with it and do that a few times with your inhale, rising up to your tippy toes. And exhales have us lowering back down. If you haven't practiced this specific movement in a while, it can be really a surprising challenge. So just do your best today. If you want to add on your arms with your inhale as you rise up to your tippy toes, your arms might reach around and then up and overhead. And then exhale, lower your arms and heels. One more time, inhaling to rise, option to lift those arms. And then exhale, lower back down. Give the legs a little bit of a shake. And then we'll find a bit of a flow here. So we'll do breath to movement some more. With your inhale, reaching your arms up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Arms reach wide. We're hinging at the hips, so the back stays straight here for a while. And then lower your hands toward the floor. Sliding your hands up your legs. Inhale, rise on up to a halfway lift position. And then with your exhale, walk your hands all the way out to a high plank. So shoulders over wrists, taking just one breath in here. And then exhale, lower your knees, move your blocks to the side, and then lower your chest all the way down. Breathe like normal as we set up our baby cobra. So for a lot of people, that means the feet spread out a little bit, pressing the top of your feet down into the mat, and pulling your shoulder blades down and back. So you're really feeling some opening through the front of your chest. Press down through the tops of your feet so much that your knees start to lift a little bit. You can feel your thighs and your glutes doing some work. This will help protect and strengthen the low back. With your inhale, lift your head and your heart, keeping the gaze down toward the top edge of your mat. And then exhale, lower back down. You really want to strengthen the muscles of the core and around the spine. So with your inhale, rise back up. Option to hover your hands up off of the floor to make sure we're using those muscles instead of our arms. And then exhale, lower back down. One more time. Inhale, baby cobra, lifting up. And exhale, lower down. Find crocodile pose. So hands, fists stacking underneath your forehead. Rest your forehead on your hands. Let your heels splay out to the sides. You might kind of wobble the hips back and forth a couple of times as you feel your low back releasing. Try to find as much softness and ease throughout your entire body as possible, including the shoulders, your jaw, and the rest of you. Slowing your breath. Our next pose will be open wing pose. You always have the option to just stay right here or find child's pose if you prefer. We'll try our open wing pose by straightening the right arm more or less straight out toward the right side. The left hand pressing into the floor next to your chest. Go ahead and bend both knees so your feet are now up in the air. Press into your left hand so you start to turn onto your right side. Make sure you're going slow. Make sure that right shoulder is doing all right. You could grab a pillow or something to put underneath your head or just kind of keep it lifted. You can stay right here or continue to open that left knee, the top knee up toward the ceiling. I like to stack my left foot on top of the right foot. It just feels like the right positioning for me. But you might find a different spot. If you're feeling any pinching or pain, go ahead and come out of this pose and maybe try a different angle for your right arm, or maybe don't go quite as far. Open wing pose. Controlling your breath. Softening your facial features. One more nice slow breath here. And then start to come back to the center. We'll very slowly switch sides. So bringing that right hand and planting it up there by your chest. Bringing that left arm out toward the left side at some angle or straight out. You can play with it as we go. And then bending back into the knees, your feet are up in the air. Press into that right hand as you start to turn onto your left side. And maybe coming more or less to like a fetal position with the left arm behind you, or continuing to open up that right knee up toward the sky. Again, maybe right foot stacked on the left foot. Maybe you find a different way to play. Make sure you're being kind and gentle to your body and you're not forcing anything. Slow and steady breaths. Steady and sweet. One more breath. And start to make your way back to the center, slow motion style. And we'll take a long body stretch from this face down kind of position. So reach your arms out long in front of you, reach your legs back behind you. Just kind of reach and stretch. And then plant both hands next to your chest. Press your way up to tabletop, hands and knees, and back to child's pose. Your knees could be a little closer this time, or you could come back out to that extended version of child's pose with your knees out wide. There's so many good add-ons in child's pose, so maybe tenting your fingertips up and reaching through the shoulders. Feels super good if you have any more shoulder stuff going on. Really doing some shoulder work today. Alternatively, you could reach your arms back so your hands end up by your ankles or feet, just so long as you don't feel like you're like smothering yourself. You really don't want to do that, of course. One more breath, exploring child's pose. Start to rise back up to tabletop, hands and knees. Grabbing your blocks if you like to use them for downward dog. With an inhale, we're going to find bear pose first. So curl your toes under and just hover your shins and your knees up off of the floor. Feel your core engaging, kind of lift up through the navel. Inhale, and then exhale, downward dog. Legs start to straighten or almost straighten. Press into the pointer finger and thumb side of your hands and reach through your shoulders. So you just feel like there's lots of length between the tailbone and the fingers. One more breath here. We're going to transition to a squat next. So bending your knees, looking up toward your hands. Go ahead and walk your hands, maybe take your blocks with you if you like to use them in a squat. Walk your hands toward the back of your mat. Start to bend your knees out to the sides and just find kind of a frog squat. So your heels can be lifted. Your hands might be resting on blocks here or bringing your hands together at heart center and lifting the chest, kind of a balancing toe stand variation. With an inhale, bringing hands down to the blocks or the floor, straighten your legs. Forward fold. And we'll transition back and forth a couple of times from a forward fold to our frog squat. So this will be our exhale position. Now with your inhale, finding your way back to a squat. You can stay up kind of high here if the knees don't like a deep squat. And then exhale, forward fold, heels find the floor. Go ahead and do that a couple more times, inhaling to your variation. And exhaling to a forward fold. Take your time. Maybe one more time through. Eventually ending up in a forward fold at the back of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift, sliding your hands up, your legs. And exhale, bend your knees, folding once more. Inhale, reverse swan dive up to stand. So arms reach wide first, hinging upward through your hips. And eventually reaching palms together overhead. Exhale, hands come down to your heart center. Maybe closing your eyes. Maybe pressing your hands in, your thumbs into the sternum so you can feel your heart beating. Spend a couple moments cultivating this sense of centeredness, balance. Remembering your intention if you set one today. Well, let's take a clearing breath together, inhaling through the nose and sighing out of the mouth. Blink your eyes open. Let your hands come down. We'll do a little bit of balancing here. So if you like to stand on a hard surface, if you're on some carpet, it's much easier to balance on a harder surface if you have one. Maybe grabbing a wall or a chair. It'd be hard to grab a wall and move it, but grab a chair. So have stuff close to you if balancing is a bit of a challenge. So we're gonna find our playful tree pose. So bringing all your weight to your right foot. Let's kickstand that left ankle or the left heel on your right ankle, opening that left knee up toward the side. See if you can square your shoulders to the front of your space. We're almost feeling a little bit of a twist here. Your hands could be down by your sides or up at your heart or on your support. Find a drishti, an unmoving focal point somewhere in front of you If you feel steady and would like to, maybe slide that left foot up toward your right calf. Breathing and balancing. Option to stay right here. Or start to find a little bit of a tree pose play with me. Maybe lifting that left knee up. Maybe straightening or almost straightening that left foot out toward the side. Just kind of exploring a little bit and then coming back to tree pose with that left foot on your right leg. Just go ahead and do that a couple of times. We're just kind of exploring, standing on one leg, and then bringing the left foot back to tree. Arms could join in on the play experience here. Maybe the arms reach out. You're just kind of finding like a one-footed star pose, whatever you want to do. And then coming back to tree pose. Whew, that right foot is really feeling it, huh? Let's take one more breath in. And then exhale, lower everything back down. Shake out that right foot. Wow, right foot's really feeling it. And then we'll switch sides. All the weight on the left foot now. Find that kickstand position with your right knee and right hip opening up toward the right, squaring your shoulders toward the front of your space, and then finding a hand position that feels good to start in. Find your unmoving focal point. Looking at your drishti. And if you feel steady and you want to explore more, maybe sliding that right foot up to the left calf. Continuing to open that right knee up toward the right side. Now, if this already feels like a good amount of challenge, there's no need to explore further if you don't want. If you want to add on that tree pose play part of this, maybe lifting that right knee or swimming that right foot around a little bit, and then eventually coming back to a more traditional tree pose. And it's good to wobble. It's good to challenge your balance here. That's helping build up those stabilizing muscles and will help us progress in our ability to balance. Arms could get involved here as you just play around a little bit, figuring out a way to move and then come back to your tree pose. Maybe about one more breath. Inhaling. And then exhale. Lower everything down. Give it a good shake. Wow, really strengthening the feet too, huh? Okay, let's come on down to the floor for a little cool down. So just making your way to the floor in a way that you like. We will meet up there right on the back with your knees hugging in toward your chest. Taking a moment to circle your knees and find some massaging pressure there at the low back and the sacrum, that part that connects the spine to the pelvis. Freestyle movement here, massaging pressure there, the sacrum. And then if there are any last poses, movements, or stretches that your body is asking you for, go ahead and move into those now. Maybe a happy baby or one last little twist. You do your thing. And then whenever you're feeling ready for final rest, make your way there. Could be very similar to how you started class today in Shavasana, corpse pose, or variation on constructive rest. Grabbing any props you might want for your comfort. And then settling on in. Maybe another sigh. Maybe one of those two-part inhale, one long exhale. Physiological sigh, where you inhale to 75%, pause, inhale a little bit more, and then sigh it out. Just settle in. Noticing the points of contact between you and your props, you and the floor. Smooth out your forehead, soften your jaw. Imagine a nice, wonderful wave of peace finding you, finding all the muscles, all the tension easing throughout your body, your emotions, your spirit. Resting in stillness for a few moments here. I will mind the time. So all you need to do is keep enjoying some relaxation. Just noticing when thoughts arise, letting those thoughts go, practicing present moment awareness, not getting too hung up on any thoughts for now. Just trusting that any important thoughts will come back to you later. Just rest. And know that you're welcome to stay right here and continue resting as long as you would like. Just ignore the rest of this class in closing if you want to stay. Eventually, when you're ready to move along, let's just start with some little tiny movements, maybe wiggling the fingers and toes, maybe swallowing or yawning or just kind of opening and closing your jaw. You let your head kind of roll from side to side for a moment. And eventually, in your own way, making it to the fetal position on either side, just slightly tucking in your knees as you roll onto that side of your choosing. Take one more very present and full breath here, in no rush. Press your hands into the floor as you come back up to a nice comfortable seat, maybe up on props. And if it feels right to you, closing your eyes as you join your hands in front of the heart. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and be free, and may our own thoughts, words, and actions somehow contribute to that happiness and freedom for all. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Let's bring thumbs up to third eye center. And in a little gesture of gratitude, let's take a little bow forward together now. Peace. And coming back up when you're ready.